Yo guys, what is up? This is Prazzy. Today, we're going to be talking about what it takes to break into new grad product management, how to land one of those highly competitive APM, RPM roles, and what you need to do to prepare. So stay tuned and let's jump in. Okay, guys, there's so much that we can talk about in this topic. This is like my seventh take. I'm not really someone who likes to repeat taking videos, but I can talk about this for hours, and I need you guys to let me know in the comments what things you want me to elaborate on, but I'm going to try to keep this as high level and as actionable as I can while giving the context, because context is king, and that is incredibly important to understanding how this all fits together. So first up, what is product management, or what really is product management, right? Product management essentially is being the owner of the product, seeing the success of the product. And a lot of people don't like the term CEO of the product, but to some degree, I think it's true. You are the CEO of the product. You are responsible for the success of your product. You're calling the shots, you're figuring out the vision and the strategy, and you're trying to advance on that. So again, what is product management really? Well, you have people who build the product, right? The engineers, they're coding it, they're building it. And then you have people who sell the product, right? They're marketers, salespeople, they're selling the product, right? Obviously, it depends. Instagram doesn't have salespeople necessarily, but, they have users. So depending on the business, it varies. But that is essentially the function of a business. And then you have product management that kind of sits in the center of all of these different functions and needs to work with all of the different roles, functions within a company to, make the product succeed. So depending on where you are in the product lifecycle, you are going to be, very maybe ideation focused, right? Brainstorming ideas, thinking of new innovation, thinking of problems to solve, doing customer research, user experience research, field research. You may be very on the kind of technical implementation side. So you may be working very closely with engineering and trying to build something specifically and building out the product, managing the roadmap, etc. Or it may be very kind of go to market for you, right? So your product is ready, then you're kind of focusing on the pricing, the strategy, the go-to-market, the sales, the marketing, the growth, the adoption of the product. So guys, you can tell there's so much to it, but a product manager is essentially responsible for a little bit of all of it. And that is why we come to the point where why is PM so competitive, especially PM straight out of college? Well, it's because, guys, it's such a high impact role. You're literally the responsible for the success of the product and everything in between, which often requires you to have a little bit of skill in everything, or at least a little bit of understanding in everything, whether that's engineering, whether that's sales, whether that's user experience, customer research, market research, the business side, a little bit of everything. And so hopefully you're not overwhelmed already. And if you are, don't worry, I'm here to break this down for you. But that is, in a nutshell, why it is competitive. Now, at the same time, the other side of it is product management is, while it may sometimes, maybe you feel that there is one route, there's not, right? And my example, my story is a very non-conventional path of coming into product management. I am a associate product manager at a large public tech company, large business, and I'm a new grad product manager there. And I don't have a traditional background. I didn't go to Berkeley or Stanford or MIT or Harvard or UPenn. I don't have a computer science degree. I don't have a fancy MBA. I'm an economics student, graduated from, a regular, decent, good university, I would say, but nowhere, top 5, top 10 or anything like that. Don't have an amazing GPA or all of like the big fancy Google, Facebook, Netflix internships, but I still was able to pull this off because I really wanted it, because I understand how this all fits together. So guys, step one, I would really say, is have that mindset, have that growth mindset, understand that there's no one way. And if I can do it, really anybody can do it. You can do it. And all it takes is understanding what you need to do to get from point A to point B. So reverse engineering that process. So let's get into a little bit about what is the role of a new grad PM, right? And again, all of these subtopics can have, 20-minute, 30-minute videos on their own, but I'll keep it brief. A new grad PM does everything that I mentioned, but kind of at a new grad entry-level scale. So you may not be managing the entire product, but you may be managing some part of it, but you'll be exercising all of the same skills, right? Which is customer research, discovery, validation of a specific problem, identifying the right problem to solve, then working with engineers to kind of build it, scope it out, prioritizing the right things, the right features to solve that problem, and then taking it to market, and then kind of getting people to use it. So it's essentially the same thing all across. Let's jump into a little bit about the APM, RPM roles, programs. There's so many these days, and it's great. I think it's fantastic. Companies are really investing into their new grad, early career talent. So you may have heard of the Uber, the Lyft, Coinbase, Google, Yahoo. Indeed, there's actually a website that tracks all the big programs, and not even programs. A lot of companies hire one-off, so they may not have a structured RPM, APM program, but they may hire, based on their own needs, new grad product managers. So, I would say there's a lot of programs out there, and there's a lot of companies that hire APM or entry-level product managers based on their own needs, and it's growing every year. Every year, there's more and more openings for new grad product managers. But don't forget, the competition is also a lot. There's a lot of people who want this type of job for the many reasons. It's a high impact job. It's a very, it's a great job in general for those who like to kind of be entrepreneurial, so to speak. Let me jump into a little bit about what is important to be a product manager, what is necessary. And this is not in any particular order. I'm really kind of free flowing here. What I think is really important is to have the right mindset, have an entrepreneurial mindset, have a product oriented mindset. Can you think about what is it out there that people want? What is their most pressing need or pain point? And how can I solve the most pressing pain point and need? That is really product management in a nutshell. I could just end the video here and I would be happy with that. No, but seriously, that is what a product manager does. And so the skill that ties to is, being entrepreneurial in a way, right? When you think about your resume, and we'll talk about resumes and interviews in just a second, but think about your own experiences. Have you taken something from 0 to 1? Have you thought about problems and have you come up with solutions? This can come in, any form of factor. And I would say highlight those experiences in your interviews, in your resume, etc. Pro tip right here, actionable tip. Start a website, start an app, start something, anything, and that will give you, a good understanding of what it means to be a product manager, because you're going out there, you're trying to understand, hey, what do people want? And then how do I build it? And then you'll learn all of the things that come in between being a product manager. But if you can get that down, and if you have that experience, you'll already be well on your way towards becoming a good product manager. Number 2, I would say all of the soft and hard skills, right? Leadership, really important. Communication, really important. Being able to influence without authority, really important as a product manager. And the hard skills that come with that really, it all varies, right? I would say data analysis, data analytics. Can you look at metrics? Can you look at, the usage of your product, and can you mess around with the numbers, and can you understand trends? Can you identify patterns? So pattern recognition is a good skill to have. Data analysis, data manipulation is a good skill to have. Prototyping, always a good skill to have. Sketching and creating low fidelity, even high fidelity mockups, always good skills to have in product management in tech. So these are skills to think about, but really I would again urge that the soft skills are really what is super, super helpful. And then product sense is one of the most important skills, right? Can you, again, going back, can you think about the customer? Can you have customer empathy and empathy in general and understand what is it that they need? And can I go validate that is actually what they need? And how do I validate that properly? And then how do I build something that solves that problem in the most kind of easiest, frictionless way? So that is, again, really what I would say is important. when thinking about this. So on your resumes, highlight leadership experience, highlight entrepreneurial activity, highlight small business that you started. Maybe you started a lawn mowing business with your buddy in 8th grade. Highlight that. Maybe you started an app and it got a total of 33 users. Highlight that. Highlight any of that stuff that is good stuff. Highlight any entrepreneurial experience that is good stuff. For those who don't have any of that, and maybe you're like me, you didn't come from a big name school, big brand internship, anything like that, try to get a product internship at a startup. And you're like, okay, well, great. How the freak do I, how the heck do I get product internship if I don't even, that's why I'm watching this video. I don't know how to do that. I would say, try to aim for startups, email startups, talk to startups where you can, wear different hats, where you can get that experience. Maybe you're an engineer by trade, maybe you're sales by trade, whatever by trade, meaning what you've done in the past, whatever you've done, try to think about the product, try to think about the customer, and try to kind of wedge in those skills and try to, at your next internship, try to apply for those internships or get to those internships where you can have a more product-oriented role, right? That was the biggest hack, in my opinion, that helped me, was I did a product internship at a small startup, maybe 30, 40 people. And then that helped me get my next product internship at another startup, maybe 100 people. And then that helped me get a really kind of big product internship at a well-known big tech company my junior year. And that helped me break into product management, right? So, try to do that, I would say. And it all comes down to the same skills. Whether you applied it at a startup or a large company, it does not matter. They're all doing the same thing. So try to do that. Resumes. We can make all videos on all of these subtopics, but resumes, I would say, be detail oriented, be specific, include quantitative metrics, talk about high level impact, right? Don't just tell me what your responsibility was. Tell me how you changed the trajectory of something. Tell me about the impact that you had. Don't just tell me that you implemented this new Python library and you use this type of framework and this and that. Tell me, I implemented this and this helped the customer experience, go from this to this, and as reflected by a 20% increase in the NPS, Net Promoter Score. Or tell me that, I introduced this new design and that decreased the cost by 40%, and thereby made the product more profitable. So talk about the impact, talk about the business sense, and try to highlight all of the different skills: business sense, product sense, engineering acumen, all of these different things in your resume, and try to make sure it's holistic. Number 5, interviews. My biggest advice for product interviews when applying for new grad product management roles is interview, practice. Join all of these mock interview groups, mock interview channels, and do as many practice interviews as you can. They will come extremely handy. And at the end of the day, the key to succeeding at an interview is to realize that this interview could change the next 12 months, 24 months of your life. And that will then compound, and that can change, the beginning part of your career. So why are you only spending 2 hours on an interview? You should be spending 20 hours practicing and preparing for an interview, right? So that is the biggest tip that helped me understand that interviews are impactful, and, no pressure, obviously. I mean, take it smooth and slow, but the more practice you do, come game time, it'll become much easier. So practice, do mock interviews, get a sense of product sense interviews, execution interviews, analytical interviews, and based on whatever type of job you're applying for, there's a lot of well-written content already out there. Practice those interviews. And then, if you do this enough, and again, I'm going to reiterate this, it's a numbers game, guys. You're not going to get the offer from the first internship or the job that you apply to in the first interview you do. No, you will need to apply to bunch of companies. From there, you will get maybe X number of interviews. From there, you will get maybe an X percentage of offers. You may not get any offers, and that is okay. But realize this is a numbers game, guys. And the strategy here is apply to as many new grad PM jobs as you can. interview as much as you can, practice as much as you can, and then it's all going to narrow down, and then you may have a few different options potentially in your hand if you're lucky, and then you can decide which one resonates with you, which one suits you, and then you can go into all the fun stuff of offer negotiation and alignment and figuring out where you want to go. Guys, I know this was a lot of information, but drop a comment below what specifics you want to talk about. I can make more videos and share insights on different parts of the product management journey. If you're more interested in my own journey, let me know and I can share. I came from a non-conventional background, economics at as I mentioned, not a big school or anything, and really kind of just hacked my way in. So happy to share that, and then happy to share more actionable insight tips as well if you need some. And I'm going to leave you with this kind of overall message. And that is, A, understand what product management really is. B, whatever you have accomplished, try to frame it in that way into what product managers do and try to frame that properly. And then 3, do your research. C, I guess, right? C3. I don't know if I'm letter numbers, but do your research, understand what is out there, and then combine all of that, right? Frame your experience based on the type of job, based on the type of product management role that you're trying to get. And then finally, practice, do your best. Don't give up. Showing up is half the battle, guys. And that is my advice to you on how to break into product management. Smash that like button, subscribe, and I'm wishing you guys the best of luck on your new grad PM journey. Thanks, guys. Have a good one. Bye-bye.